All right, greetings, thanks for joining us. All right, I guess Christmas is over. I guess this is still like a day off or something like that for some people. I'm not sure how that works, but either way, okay. So do Alien. Not that that's going to get anywhere, but we'll connect to it anyway. 2023 Alien activity for the new year. Like I said, I wouldn't be holding your breath or anything like that. Of course, you never know. Yeah, never say never. Just never say never. Anything can happen. So, also, Daniel Day Lewis is a method actor, and he does a lot of channeling himself. So, if you're aware of him or not, you don't have to go into too much detail, but he's done some. Like he really gets into the role, like he becomes that person. And if he's doing like a role like the 1940s or something like that, or 1800s, he'll just wear that 1800s clothing, but he also won't accept any type of medical help, modern. Because like he almost died because he wasn't accepting any medical help because he wasn't wearing warm enough clothes. I don't know how people survived. I don't know how we got this far, actually. There must be we must be getting help somewhere because how do we survive this long? So, well, everything can kill you, and things are not much better, but, we still have some things that keep us alive. Anyway. All right. And the moon to Mars. Basically, that's from NASA's website. So I was going to go into some of that and just tap into some of their energies on that one. So alien activity, of course, just you never know. Like I said, I won't be holding your breath for what's coming, but you never know. Yeah, it's just like on a spiritual level, if you're at the level where you're okay, I mean, you see the Avatar thing, there's a bunch of blue people everywhere. Not that they're going to show up here anytime soon. Of course, they are taking over the movie theater for this month, so that's an alien invasion right there. So, and some of the other stuff that's been out there in the past. So, even your top movies have been recently been aliens. So, they're telling us something. So the new year, yeah, it's probably going to be more of the same. Of course, this year we had more of the government talking about UFO, which is, I didn't go into any of it because it's all just propaganda, but I don't know. It's better than nothing, right? Should we expect, I don't know, if it comes from the government, obviously it's all propaganda, so who knows? Yeah, just roll with it. What a mess. What a mess. So, avatar.com. We have private sessions. We have a scheduler. We have the shop here. I'm still in November, and here December is coming to an end. I also I'm going to be doing sessions at the conference. I haven't put the link in anywhere. I haven't done anything yet. But I guess Bigfoot's going to be there somewhere. Anyway, I'll be doing sessions, and that's about it. I do enough talking as it is. And of course, the channeling at the conference, last conference, went off great. Of course, you can't always hear everybody, but it went off good overall. Of course, the webinar this week, Social Network, last webinar of this week, or the year, Social Network behind the scenes. So, yep, this is the year rollout, or the wrap up, whatever you would call it. So, if you're aware of Daniel Day Lewis, because he goes pretty deep into his roles, Like was it? And also like if you sometimes they're yeah he's just an oddball. I don't like a lot of his movies, but yeah, but My Left Foot, I mean, he literally played that role. And he actually injured himself doing it. So, I mean, that could be really hard on your body. Leaning over like that all the time, riding with your left foot, because the only he can do is move his left foot. So he's he's very unusual. But he played Hamlet. Uh, he played Hamlet, and you actually saw his dad. He was actually channeling. He was actually, Hamlet was talking to his dead father, so he was actually channeling his own dad. So, which is interesting, though. I was surprised that he hasn't played Jesus because they can really play a crazy ass Jesus. I'm surprised he didn't get a Jesus role because it really fits it. He'd probably go insane. He would probably literally channel Jesus, and I don't know about you going around healing people, but he'll probably go crazy. Probably. So it's just so the energy he's tapping into. So that's where we're going to go into that. You can say his higher self, you can say. Because that's a spiritual being right there, actually. Yeah, some might not look at it that way, but it is. When you look for channeling, you're seeing it right there. So it's kind of messed up. All the stuff he did to himself for these roles, just insane. So, all right. So we go to alien activity. Basically, UFO alien update. Not that we're going to get a whole lot from that. I wouldn't expect a whole lot, but of course, you just never know. So, just checking everything, see where all systems go. Okay, all right. Happy New Year. Of course, we're not there yet, but we're on our way. One more week. And then, yeah, it takes like until March for the new year to kick in. Of course, we had the snow and everything that came in, which is, of course, manipulation. And, yeah, it'll be sunny skies in no time. So, all right. All right, blessings. Here we go. Great. You see, we have the Zeta consciousness, the Zeta gray frequencies. Not that you'll have alien disclosure as of this year coming in, but many are tapping more into our energies, which we find that quite amusing. But some are still not understanding what they're doing. So basically, you're sharpening your skills to connect to the astral plane as humans become. But basically, you're going to the next level of the human. Basically, you tap into other dimensions, realities, even if you're not always remembering it, and not always feeling it. It doesn't, But you have the intention to connect to another reality than yours. So it shows that you're going into more of the future human. Basically, however you want to describe that, because that's what the human here is going now. Yes, it might be extremely slow, but you just use your imagination, use your intuition. And what do you feel where's your heart? If your heart is on another planet, then please do connect to, because most likely there's some heart space there that you need to connect to heal. Many are still healing from the secret space programmings from previous lifetimes, and it's like they're still living it. And so they're just dealing with trauma after trauma after trauma, and you just don't know where to go with it. And you can also have lifetime after lifetime trying to figure this out. So some are still trying to, well, it's just there is a space force in other dimensions, of course, and a lot of them do fail, or your SSP, you can say. And a lot of those failures come into trauma, and then you incarnate here, because many they just fail in other incarnations, and then they They come here to kind of reset themselves and even go back to it if they want to. They learn more about themselves. They actually connect more to the spiritual side of themselves too. It's like, why did that other lifetime fail? You come to this lifetime, you go into your spirituality and fill in the gaps, fill in what you're missing, and then go back into that incarnation, the SSP incarnation, and try it again to not fail again. So that's one way of looking why many incarnate here. Is you can say it's, of course, the world has its troubles. Well, of course, there's many agendas here. Many beings want this world to be the way they want it to be. As many of you probably want this world to be the way you want it to be. So you have all these different agendas, practically millions of agendas for the world to go either one way or another. And so when you have the world kind of going in all these different directions, it's not the easiest thing to heal or understand. It's complicated. So not that you'll have all the answers your coming year, but many of you will tap more into your higher self, your higher being, and become stronger. So your method is just connecting more to yourself and feeling more comfortable in your spiritual growth. Many are still in the early stages of it, which is fine, but you're still wanting something more out of your incarnation. So you do feel you will accomplish what you're here to accomplish. It's just a lot of backlash to a lot of human. Well, basically, yes, it's not always the best to have these spiritual groups to be too large. I mean, some of them are large, but not too large. Because the spiritual groups are too large, you can't learn. It's not easy. So you're basically finding your character, finding who you are on a spiritual template. You're figuring, sometimes, like I said, sometimes the smaller the better. The smaller the boat, you get along with, you can connect to the passengers on that ship or on the boat. If you're on a cruise ship, how many of you are connecting to everybody? Nobody is. You might connect to 2 or 3 people. So if you have a small group that are growing, you can learn more from them. So us as a Zeta race, some might feel like we're a failed race, or well, just that for us, this is the way we needed to go. Like leave the human perspective. We are still a version of human, but we connect well because we have 4th and 5th dimensional connections that we don't want to lose. So some are kind of becoming more human like your world, but you can go on and on with that. But is this basically, yes, as alien beings, we keep things very simple. I'll use the word tight, meaning that we have our vibration where we need it to be. Yes, Zetas might not be the most attractive beings on a human perspective, but that's not our agenda. That's not our mission. It's to connect to all things. So sometimes you have to be like a warped looking type of alien being to connect to all things, because we can connect to things that non-Palladians and Syrians and Arcturians can connect to. Of course, there's things that we can't connect to that they can connect to. So we all have a piece of the puzzle, and so do you. It's just you're in human form. It's not always making sense. It's going to take, even as alien beings, we don't have it all figured out. Nobody does. So blessings. Greetings to you. This is Daniel Day-Lewis's higher self. With all honesty, there's nothing wrong with connecting to a actor's higher self, the one that you feel that can offer a great deal to you and your soul understanding. Some actors don't have an identity, so they become other people. It's like you turn yourself into a blank page. so you can learn from others. So you become others to put yourself back together again. Because many actors have been through many traumas in previous lifetimes, and they don't want to be themselves anymore. It's like you come here to this world to figure yourself out. And to be an actor is one way. It doesn't mean you have all the answers when you leave, maybe not. And you're just like, you're kind of like you put yourself to rest and you let all these other beings channel through you, the people that you act upon or you do the character of. And then when you leave the world, you allow yourself to come back to life, but maybe not by a lot. Now, others that are actors that you feel like they're just acting, it's always them. Well, because it is. It's just that you feel more comfortable in their own shoes. They're just sharing their frequency. It's like an uncle or a granddad or grandmother just being them. It's like, oh, look, it's that actor playing themselves again, but that's great. Because this story or this reality needs that energy there. It might not make sense, but on an energy level, on a mental health level, that person's there. So there's one thing I have to tap into it 1 second. It's characters that actors play. Some actors, yes, have been mercenaries in their previous lifetimes. No, not all. Some have. Yes, like your Thanos that snapped his finger. Some have actually have been that being. Now you can have like all these actors have been that type of being in previous life. But for the movie, you only need one version of it. We don't need all these other versions. And it's like you did it best. So like your version works good for this movie. Your mercenary, yes, your mercenary did great. All these actors have been mercenaries in their past life, but your version of mercenary works best for this film. That's one way of looking at it. But that's not always the case. Not all actors have been horrible beings and all that. Some have been very simple, afraid, or not wanting to try new things. So they become an actor to get them more used to being a human. Why so many people want to be an actor? So they can kind of get used to this place too. There's different ways of doing it, but one of them is become an actor where you just come in a clean slate. It's like, if I'm going to incarnate on this world, why don't I just take my personality, my character, kind of dilute it or just blank slate it so I can learn from this world, so I can absorb the personalities of this reality and just become other people so I can they really absorb it. And then one day you might bring, so some people just in general keep themselves out. I mean, their soul is here, but much of them is not here. So they can learn from this reality. Like, they might not be the most outgoing person. They might be as boring as cereal. But that's the idea, to be around people that are charismatic, that are interesting, that are this and that, and very open-minded and all that, so you can absorb all those frequencies and learn from others. Like, sometimes good to, as an actor, is to be quiet and listen. Now, many of you do the same thing in your own way, of course. But then again, you have to interject and say what you need to say when you need to say. And it's like, I was going to keep my soul quiet, but not anymore. So, I mean, of course, with my acting, a part of me is still there to govern myself, but I can, yes, take it to a whole nother level. Well, there are some realities where you can truly become somebody else, which can be absolutely terrifying. Well, think about it. So, like, Abraham Lincoln dies, and someone in your modern era, 100, 200 years later, can channel Abraham Lincoln and literally becomes Abraham Lincoln. Literally becomes that person. Yeah, you might be in the modern world, but now you're somebody else. And you see the same thing with Jesus. That happens here quite often, which can be terrifying to some. They wonder why their healing ability isn't working. Well, it's because you kind of found a way to get Jesus here. Of course, it's their version of Jesus, but either way, it's still some kind of version of it. The Christ consciousness is a little bit different. Good day. Brings to you. We are a consciousness of your moon, your sun, your solar system, your space, basically all things outside of your world. From the moon's perspective, yes, of course, there's many alien visitations. Your NASA, not everyone in NASA is aware of the alien frequencies, of course, but there are many alien walk-ins in NASA. Not that NASA has a meaning about that, because NASA's not that sophisticated, but they are aware that some of their people are alien, or even further down, where some of their employees are now alien, where they were not alien last week, but now they have a walk in there for a short time. And there's some aliens that can truly take a human form, yes, which happens a lot, where aliens just take a human form, just walk around they appear in NASA, walk the halls of it. That happens. We can't go into details, but it happens. Now, why? Can't go into that. They're just, NASA, of course, has been shut down. Now, there are many moon missions, just not publicly, of course. Mars missions, all the planets have been visited countless times. They're just not going to advertise it because they don't really have it down yet. And they're not going, there's a shadow side of NASA, of course, you go further in that. And most likely you will never find the truth of this. You might get whistleblowers and things of that kind, but not likely to ever come public. It's a sensitive topic. They don't really have it down. They don't really know what they're doing. I think they do. But once again, like your reality, there's a lot of agendas. So there's always going to be a secret something going somewhere on it. You have other versions of Earth here too that you know about that some are actually quite aware of, at least in their vision, their psychic abilities. Some of you are listening to this probably. I feel like you're connecting to another version of Earth and don't know what the hell you're tapping into. So yeah, you're not alone there. But there's always going to be some kind of secret, alien space society. It's always going to happen here until it's different ways of looking at this. It's once you create like a society, a secrecy, you want to keep it that way. And why should I tell anybody else? Like they achieved it. Why should I let the public know about it? Now, if the public gets evolves to finally figure this out, like you stumble upon it or some kind of situation, then you earned it. But a lot of it, why you don't know about the secret societies, is just for your own good. I mean, for your own safety. That's probably a better word for it. Because it's really intense. Well, there's a lot of backstabbers in the shadow space programs, as some of you already remember. But the space programs that are very connected to, the Area 51 situation, all those type of things. What's more grounded here is like they keep it so secret, and it's death connected to it also. Where they get extremely paranoid. It's kind of like another version of your government, but it's extremely paranoid. It is, as you call it, secret, meaning blacked out, of course. Some of it's in Nevada, but not in the places that you would think that would be. Yes, of course, underground, of course. Utah somewhat, but Nevada is really the main, at least for the United States. Germany has their own place. Russia has their own areas also. Those are different type of governments, though. Every country has their own secret, government, of course. They all connect to each other sometimes. They don't always talk to each other. They kind of whisper to each other. There's a lot of backstabbing there. I think we need to go. Blessings.